Hi, everybody. Shannon Johnson here with the final episode on the Elements series. Yay! I'm so happy. This was quite a test to take on. It took a lot of research, a lot of planning, a lot of other things I don't even want to think about. So today we are in my backyard. On Monday we were in my front yard. My property is an L shape actually, just so that it makes a little bit more sense to you guys. So for this episode, we are getting into the 7th chakra, 8th, 9th, 10th, and we're also completing the last of the elements to give you guys a more whole-rounded picture. So as the plane flies over, we don't get a lot of noise out here, so hopefully everything will be good, other than you'll probably hear my neighbor's roosters going off on and off. So before I dive into the chakra section about this, about these last elements and bringing everything to a conclusion, I did want to touch on two of the last channels that are within the, and there's my husband, within the polarity therapy. For a second. Hopefully, I don't know. Anyway, so I wanted to bring up the last two channels in polarity therapy because most of the elements had related to it until we got to this one.
I got two.
I see it. Well, you'll have to wait till I'm done with my live feed. Or you can go ahead and eat.
Yeah, or I can go ahead and eat.
Go ahead. Hi, Matt. Hi, Rhonda. So, okay, let's do real quick the last two channels, meridian channels that are in polarity therapy. So the first one is the dew channel. This time I brought my book with me because these two really relate to kind of finishing out the last of the chakra systems and the last of the elements as well. So the dew channel is called the governing vessel. I don't know if we're going to be able to see this very well or not, but I'm going to try. So that's this one here. You can see it's got many points that run along the body on the back. Does the whole body. So the dew channel is called the Sea of Yang. It exerts an influence on all of the Yang channels and all of the Yang organs. The dew channel also functions to nourish the spine and the brain. Points of the dew channel might be used to treat conditions such as vertigo, tinnitus, low back pain, poor memory, seizures, stiff neck, and fever. Now, my other one to share with you to finish out the meridians as they relate to the body, because the reason why I brought polarity therapy into all of this is because it is one of the older traditional Chinese medicine therapies that are out there. It incorporates all of the electrical meridians within the body, and we tend to focus only on the chakras. But the meridians are extremely important in how they carry energy and their functions, especially relating to our bodily organs and body systems. Because you know what? If you're not taking care of the physical you, all the rest goes to shit. It's just kind of the way it is. So the other one is the Ren channel. Okay? And you can see the Ren channel runs along the front of the body. Now, it's called the conception vessel. And the Ren channel is called the Sea of Yin, of course. The other one is Sea of Yang. And the Ren channel is the joining of all the yin channels and the yin organs in one flow. It functions to exert an influence on all of the yin. It's great importance for regulation of the reproductive systems of both men and women. And its points are typically used in treating conditions of fertility, pregnancy, childbirth, menstruation, menopause, tumors, hernias, asthma, and other conditions of the abdomen, thorax, lungs, throat, and face. Okay? So this is kind of just helping us to know that there is another channel, two channels of energy, meridian energy, that run alongside of the chakra systems within the body. Chakra systems are more central located, right, within balls of spheres of light, and they point forward and they point backward. Two cones of energy coming out of you, okay? They all flow up within one each other and they all flow down. Remember that, because we only think of our chakras flowing up, but the energy also flows down. Conduit, okay? Always electrical conduits that are clear. So that information, as far as the polarity therapy that's been shared in my episodes this month on the elements, comes from this. This book most people would not buy. This is for massage therapists and bodywork. It is actually the guru book for us as massage therapists because it has all the information we need to pass our state and national boards within the USA. So lots of good information in it, whether you're interested in studying any of it or not, it really doesn't matter. I was using it for reference to include polarity therapy. So we're done with that. Now, we get into having some fun stuff about chakras and the other elements. I hope you guys are enjoying the scenery. That's a goji berry bush that started from a little cutting, and we're slowly getting it going so we could actually have fresh goji berry. It's also a superfood, like asparagus we talked about before. So let's get into some other stuff. I did actually accomplish the drawing. Woo! And I will talk about that after. So I want both of these. Yeah, see, I'm an old schooler. I have handwritten paper notes for my research because that's how I work best. Anyway, so let's get into this because, as I said in the last episode, there's a lot of confusion that starts to happen with the different teachings on the elements. So last episode we were doing air and we did ether, and we also dove into spirit because ether and spirit end up getting mixed up together. And what I found actually is that in most of the teachings, spirit, the element spirit, it touches the from the throat chakra, which is related to ether. It's also part of the third eye chakra, number 6, is also referred to as spirit. The crown chakra is also related to spirit. The higher crown, also known as the soul star chakra. And even, what's that other one? The star seed, I believe it's called. Yeah. No, incorrect. Don't you love when I'm just figuring my own notes out? Um, anyway, whatever. I'm going to move on because I know I have it in here somewhere. It gets crazy when you're getting into more and more information and more layers. But basically what I'm saying is that everything from the heart chakra actually up are all interconnecting as far as the elements that they relate to. Everything from heart chakra down relates to one of the specific elements, but also go down earthwise as far as their element connection. So from heart up, connect. You figure heart chakra is kind of that center point that ends up bridging earth and spirit, right? So that's one of the factors in why these particular chakras all seem to have that same relation or that same affiliation that you find in a lot of the teachings, is that they are all related to spirit in one way or another. So let's talk about the crown chakra, because this one I really loved getting more in depth to. And I'll tell you why. One of my biggest things is knowledgeable information. And for a lot of us doing spiritual awakening or starting to work on our abilities and this and that, everybody focuses on the third eye, right? It's like you got to work on the third eye. The third eye is connected to the pineal gland. No. Third eye is actually affiliated with the pituitary gland. That's its primary, okay? It is the primary. Yes, third eye has a lot to do with the clairs and everything like that, but guess what? It's actually the crown chakra that is related to the pineal gland. Let me say that again. The crown chakra is the one connected directly to the pineal gland and the development of the pineal gland. And yes, that is my dog Harley. He is the last of our Goldens who is still with us that you're seeing wandering around the yard. So I don't have a stray dog going on. We're all good. So, yeah, you like that one, Matt? Isn't that incredible? See it, you know, you start doing all this research and shit and you end up finding these things out. So let's dig in some more. So the crown chakra is related to all of the senses. It is related to all of the elements. Okay? The planet that is associated with is Neptune. And I kind of find this funny because, you know, each of the elements and each of the chakras has an association with a planet. And if you looked at how this is kind of gone, the higher chakras relate to the planets furthest away from the sun. And yet, what do they give us? They give us our highest connections. They connect to our higher consciousness. They connect to home, universe, source, void. Yeah, got that one in there too. So, fun stuff. Its symbol, the most common symbol, is the one that goes back to the old Indian teachings. And I'm not talking Native Americans, I'm talking India teachings. And its symbol is the 1,000-petaled lotus. So think about that, your crown. And I'm going to say, okay, for reference point, your crown chakra is not sitting flat on top of your head. Your crown chakra is about 2 to 3 inches above the head. You'll ask about that? Okay, Matt. Make sure to make notes because I won't remember jack shit by then. So yes. Okay, crown chakra is a ball of light that is about 2 inches above your head. The colors that relate to the crown chakra are white, violet, and gold. Matt, you'll like that. There's our gold color again, huh? It represents the enlightened human, and its purpose is divine understanding. Key issues: inner wisdom, aging. Let me see, I have some other ones here. Spiritual communication and awareness. Ta-da! There you go, right? That's not under the third eye information. That's under the crown information, spiritual communication. When it's blocked, you may be someone that's attempting to control others, right? Kind of interesting there. That's something you can notice when, especially for healers and energy workers, something to be aware about, right? So if you've got a person coming into the office, and even for massage therapists, that you're noticing this person is very controlling, especially with people they interact with, or trying to be very overbearing, do a little work on the crown chakra. Little head scalp massage, little clearing on that energy up there, and you'll be good. Okay. Bear in mind, the crown chakra spins in both directions. Kind of reminds me of like a DJ when they do the scratching on the record. Old school girl here. So, but it does, it spins both directions. When it's stuck open, when the crown chakra is stuck open, you have an openness to spiritual interference and attachments. So this is where boundaries are very important when you have your crown chakra open and receiving. Okay? Just a boundary needed. If someone's got it wide open, and some people don't even know that it may be wide open, right? But they're having issues with getting spirit attachments, or that they're getting too much influence from things that are going on that they shouldn't be. It's stuck. Okay, chakras should be able to spin back and forth freely, and then we can work with boundaries to help set the perimeter, the rules of engagement for our personal being. Also, if your crown chakra is imbalanced, not balanced, imbalanced, you may have excessive environmental sensitivities. Yeah. Or it may be a person suffering from delusions. Okay. This is where we get into how mediums and psychics for many centuries were persecuted or put into mental institutions. There was not a lot of information about working with spirit. It was seen as something bad and negative. And here these people could have been helped by energy workers or people aware that perhaps the crown chakra needs some work. So let me also state that the crown chakra, the element, which is what the focus of these videos has been about, the elements related to it: thought, spirit, the void, and what was the other ones I was going to say? Ether, the Akash, right? So we know that ether is also the throat chakra. But as I said again, these ones all start linking together. And one of the problems that's happened over the centuries, the studies of this, is that every area, and I say area of the world, or religious studies, scientific studies, they ended up relating what they knew and gave different names for things. And isn't that where we ended up with tons of confusion in different teachings because a lot of the times it's the same meaning, just a different word being used. So, moving on with that, let's get into some other areas. So it's energy function of the crown, unity and transcending. It's also where we balance the masculine and feminine energies within the individual. It has no designation of one or the other. It is the balance of both. Its primary activity is transcendence. I'm hearing lots of moving around in the bushes. She went flying that way. Oh, there she is in the branches. Sorry, hubby's looking for the cat. One of them, Sadie. Anyway, all right. So the body sense related to the crown chakra. Dun 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 dun. Like that. ESP, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. Those are the body senses related to the crown chakra, not the third eye. Because the body sense for the third eye is hearing, speech, expression, sound. Made sure to bring those notes out with you because, since we're kind of clearing up the information back and forth. So the inner aspect of the crown chakra is releasing. It's life lesson, releasing attachments in order to transcend earthbound karma. I'm not one that's into karma. And that's really because the studies that I've done have pretty much taken karma out of the picture and went, yeah, the understanding of karma, the relation of karma is human made. So, but I can see where this is a useful word to use in this aspect because it's more about the current lifetime you are living in, that you are conscious in this moment. That's where working with this, releasing those types of attachments to trauma, pain, suffering, even joy, happiness, elation, all that good shit that relates to this life. This is an area and an element that we can help release the things that are in the current wave. So when your soul returns home, it's not holding on to earthbound karmic strands. Okay? Because we can heal anything. We can heal everything that happens within our lifetimes if we become conscious of it. So let's get into a couple of the actual actions of this. So the physical action of the crown chakra is meditation. Its mental action is universal consciousness, and its emotional action is unity. So if you think about that the more that we get our crown chakra moving the way that it needs to be flowing, getting that energy in motion and cleared, the more unified we feel within ourselves. We get the masculine and feminine energies within a harmony. We feel more authentic in who we are, especially in how we express ourselves, and we're taking care of our emotional baggage. And we feel more unified with our environment as well as our co-participants, all the other humans on the planet. So if you're wanting to work on things to activate your crown chakra more fully, working with the spirit energy, the color to balance it and activate it golden white light. Now we hear golden white light a lot. Everybody's like, do your protective bubble, use some golden white light. Need to cleanse, need protection, golden white light. Okay? It is very much related to the element of spirit and your crown chakra. To calm, so if your crown chakra was very active like mine, to calm it, you would wear colors such as pale rose pink. Pale rose pink. Now I'll make notation right here. You notice in the heart chakra and the information we were doing on air, the colors were green, right? We didn't much talk about pink, but yet people associate the color pink with the emotion of love. And that's fine and dandy because the emotion of love has the entire rainbow of colors associated with it. Every color of the rainbow is associated with the emotion of love. It's the crown chakra's complementary color as well is yellow, and various shades of yellow and gold are ones you can also use. So crystals to activate, sapphires. And the crystal to calm the crown chakra is emeralds. Now we all know those are expensive ones, okay? But we're good because we got a few more listed. You can also use amethyst, clear quartz, diamond, moldavite, and purple jasper. Those are other crystals you can use to work with your crown chakra energy as well as working with the spirit element. The affirmation to use for your crown and with the spirit element is, I manifest the pure light of spirit. Pretty easy. Its verb is I know. So with the third eye, I was doing my cheat sheet because I brought Jamie's chart out with me too. So the third eye, the sixth chakra here, it's also got the verb of I see. Okay, so here we were talking about how it's different. And in the last episode on Monday, we got into more in depth about the sixth chakra, the third eye. So you can look there. Matt's question. See, I can see the questions today. Woohoo! Was sitting in the shade. So Matt's question is, which one of those crystals you listed are for activating versus calming? Or are all of them for just work in general other than sapphire and emerald? Well, I would say definitely look at the different attributes of those other crystals. They were listed more in a general sense as alternatives. Now, the ones that I gave as specifics, those are actually from ancient India teachings in the more Buddhist sense. So I would say work with crystals based on their additional intent of energy, their power, for what your intent is. And then what you can do is you can include the colors or include even the sapphire and emerald coloring with the crystals that you end up choosing that have the energy based on the intent you're working on. If that answers a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about pineal gland. Pineal gland This is its physical function in the body, okay? And this is part of why I did this series, was so that everybody could understand that the elements are not something external from you. Everything external is internal, everything internal is external. Our physical being on this planet is very integrated into its environment in order to have homeostasis. And it affects all four layers or bodies, as we refer them to, from physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. Okay? So, on a physical level, the pineal gland produces melatonin. And what do we need melatonin for? Melatonin is produced in order for us to have our sleep cycle. So the pineal gland is very much a factor as far as our ability for restorative sleep. It controls the cerebrum, very connected and primary in the right brain hemisphere, and it regulates serotonin production. Now, if you're someone like me who does not produce enough serotonin, I think my pineal gland must have had like some kind of, well, shit, I just answered my own question. So I was going to say, I think my pineal gland must have had a little trauma. I had a car accident in 1985 where I went face first into a radio in a car when we hit a telephone pole. And if you think about that, what got jarred? Everything. But I had a primary injury to my head and neck. So my pineal gland, it didn't just open up and help my crown chakra with spirit communication, but it also impacted my serotonin production and my melatonin production, which honestly, if I hadn't had that shit, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys about all this other stuff, right? Because that was all part of my journey in learning about healing, and starting to work with my own abilities and ending up where I'm sitting today. So, pineal gland can have trauma, and depending on how it's impacted, it can either create a heightened physical issue, such as too much serotonin, um, as well as for someone like me where it's not producing enough. So some of the foods that you can add into your diet to help balance your pineal gland, also to keep it healthy. Number one, you want to do things that are within the purple and white foods. Okay, things like purple grapes, eggplant, blackberries, purple potatoes, purple broccoli. So any of the blue, violet, and white foods, which these also relate to the third eye, the sixth chakra. Same foods apply. So for all of these other ones, we're pretty much staying within the blue, purple, and white ranges. The negative emotion to the crown chakra is arrogance, and the positive is spirituality. And you don't think of that as being an emotion, but it is. Our spirituality is part of our being. It's part of our emotion of faith, our emotion of belief. You know, that kind of thing. These are some of the diseases that can be related to dysfunction or disconnection of the crown chakra for the physical body. You can have metabolic syndromes, nervous system disturbances, ME, insomnia, as well as the opposite side, which is excessive sleep, biological clock disturbances, dementia, and depression. Those are all related to a disconnection within the crown chakra. So, um, I don't know where I was just going to say, but anyway, let's skip it. And maybe it'll pop back out. So, where the third eye is related to light, right, as its element, light. The throat is related to sound, and they are both related to ether, spirit, akash, void. And I'm going to get into something else um, about the void in a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about the higher crown chakra, because this one, when I was doing my research on elements, it was pretty much as we get into these higher chakras again, they are all connected to the same elements, and they all have multiples. They are all also connected to every other chakra in the body and every element within the elemental system. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about the soul star chakra. This is also referred to as the higher crown. It's also connected as far as a sense, it says, to higher consciousness. And this one is about 6 inches to a foot above the head. Okay. Remember, crown is about 2 to 3 inches above the head. And this one is the next one up. It's also called the soul star. Soul star. I love that name best, really. Its key issues is soul connections and spiritual illumination. If it's blocked or stuck open, you can have issues with soul fragmentation. You might be somebody with a messiah complex or openness to invasion from alien entities. Yes, I really said that. Okay. And alien is in air quotes. Okay. So, but it is one of the ones that can actually allow us the deeper connection with some of our other fellow soul travelers. Because let me say this right there. Boy, what humans perceive as alien beings to us is no different than the lion and the antelope. Okay? And I say that because they are no different than us. They may have a different shape, they may have a different form, but the soul that resides within the powerhouse is the same as ours. And often, many of us who are incarnated on earth, let me rephrase that more. I'm going to change that from many to all. All of us who reside in human form on this earth have had at least one, if not 1,000, lifetimes in another life form before choosing to be human. Dun, 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 dun. So, looking at anything alien related, let's just say it this way. It's you in a different meat suit. Okay? putting that out there. So anyway, the soul star chakra, its negative power is feeling disconnected and spiritual arrogance. Yeah, I love that one. Its positive side is enlightenment. Any diseases associated with this particular chakra are spiritual, not physical. So it may be things related to past lives. It may be related to spiritual connections. It may be related to spirit itself. Okay? They usually don't take form in the physical body. The color for this is white, and its complementary is black. Okay? Now we know for, what was that? Is that part of the sixth chakra? See, lucky I have my notes with me. Yes. The colors for spirit and ether are black and white together, like zebra. Okay. So soul star, it's white or black. So there again, we're getting into that whole visual of the yin and yang symbol. That's why it's lasted for friggin' thousands of years, because it is so much of a balance of a lot of this higher energy that we're working with. Its verb is I am. I don't have an affirmation for it. But if you think about everything that you're doing related to the crown chakra and moving up is pretty much coming into alignment in that way. And the roosters agree. I love all this little nature background here. So let's get into the next chakra up, and this is pretty much where I'm going to stop. And this is the stellar gateway chakra. Okay, so you've got the crown chakra 2 to 3 inches above the head. You have the soul star chakra about 6 inches to a foot above the head. And I say that range because it really depends on the individuals. Okay. So then we have the stellar gateway chakra, and it's 1 foot to 2 foot above the head. This is the cosmic portal chakra. Okay. That is its primary function, is the cosmic portal. If it's blocked or stuck, you can have contact. You could be having frequent contact with lower level entities. Okay. It's kind of like you're having that beacon light. Okay. Think of a lighthouse, right? Lighthouses are the beacon for all ships at sea. The stellar gateway chakra is pretty much the light of the lighthouse beaming out in all directions. So yes, it can get everything from earthbound stuck spirit to those that are within the grace, what we want to call more the grace space bound, and all dimensional beings, multi-dimensional, all dimensions, okay? Stellar gateway chakra is the beam of light for connection to all of them. Its negative power is delusions, and its positive power is cosmic consciousness. Okay? So I really wanted that to be brought into the picture for people to realize that when you're developing your abilities, talking to spirit in any format, you want to work, okay, from the physical to the cosmic. Right? This is how we can really bring the alignment of everything earthbound into the cosmic reality. A couple other things I want to get into about the soul star. Okay? That's about all I have on the stellar gateway. It's one of the ones that there's not a lot of information about, and that's really because we're fucking human right now, so sorry, babes. Pause, I need a drink. Yes, I'm drinking water. It's fucking gorgeous out here today. Like close to 80 degrees. Thank God I'm in the sun. I got sunburnt Monday. Doing this. Yeah, my little ramble for the moment. Okay, so let's get back to a little bit more about the higher crown and the soul, which is AKA the soul star. Okay, up here, about 6 inches to a foot above the head. And this comes from Jamie Butler's chakra chart. I love it because it's quick reference. So a couple of the notations that she had made on there about this particular chakra I thought were very, very valuable, besides all the others that we've discussed, because, you know, you can never have too much information, honestly. You know, the more knowledge you have, the better you can navigate. That's my motto. So, sorry, tables here. All right. So one of the notations about Soul Star Higher Crown, aka number 8, it is the bridge between 3D and 4D. And I'm going to take that further, and I'm going to say actually it can end up reaching a couple more dimensions than that. And then you're getting into the stellar gateway chakra that's truly able to, which incorporates all dimensions. The higher crown, soul star, is also the center of divine love. It has the emotions of spiritual compassion and selflessness. It is the center of human cleansing and releasing of old patterns. So for those that are wanting to clean up some shit, this is the chakra you're going to want to focus on. Okay. Pulling that energy into the physical being more so that you have a more consistent flow to help you with releasing old patterns. Crystals for the higher crown soul star. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to pronounce this at all, so don't laugh. A papophyllite. And that's APOPHYLLITE. Okay. Another one is muscovite, celestite, and selenite. Okay. So celestite, CELESTITE, and selenite, SELENITE. Okay, two totally different crystals. Also diamonds, of course. And some of the white foods that you can use for the crown chakra, the soul star chakra, the stellar gateway chakra. And even they help the third eye. They help with the throat chakra as well. Cauliflower, onions, mushrooms. Ooh, do I love me some mushrooms. Rice, milk, eggs. Let's talk I'm going to take a minute about eggs. Now, here's a contradiction in teachings, is eggs. Isn't that awesome? So, in a lot of the teachings, it says egg whites. And I kind of started giggling about that because one of the other colors related to the crown chakra is yellow. That's its complementary color, you know. You got a lot of stuff about yellow, gold, white, right? What does an egg got? It's got a yellow yolk. It's got egg white. Now guess what? In food healing, in food healing, right? How to use your foods more properly for the greatest balance and homeostasis. Egg yolks have more nutrition that the body needs than the egg white. And yet everybody's telling you, oh, be healthy, eat egg whites. Guess what? The yolk is actually more nutritious for the body than the egg white. Just putting that out there as some food healing info for those of you who struggle, like me. So don't ignore your egg yolks, people. It's very, very healthy for you if you are getting good, healthy eggs. Very needed. So working with these chakras, working with the element of spirit, I'm going to tell you, eat the whole fucking egg. Okay? Just saying it. It gets crazy when people just like, no, you can only do it this way. No, you can only do it that way. And as we know, any of you that follow me, I am the one that goes, oh, fuck that shit. There's more than one way. I am not going to stick to just one dogma that everybody wants to dictate to me. It just doesn't work real well that way. So eat the whole egg. Enjoy it. Eat it and, oh, I'm going to tell you something else. Healthiest ways for eggs, where you're getting all of the nutrients out of the egg, both parts, boiled, hard-boiled eggs. You can do soft-boiled eggs, really doesn't matter, but boiled eggs and over easy. Those are the two best ways to get the most nutrients out of eggs. Your body will love you for it. Okay? So I'll get off my my podium on eggs. We'll go to something else. Now, I want to take a moment and talk about the void. Chris, you're going to love this. Okay. The void. The void we know is another element. Okay. But the teachings about the void are very mixed, very confusing. So I'm going to give you the tidbits that I have, and I'm going to leave it to you to interpret it for yourself. How you want to work with it, if you want to work with it. Okay. So the void is very paralleled with ether. Okay, and we already know that ether is the throat chakra element. But there's also other teachings about the void in relation to chakras that I ran into, and I was kind of like, oh, well, that's interesting. So another one is that and it's not even in my notes, so good thing I can remember it today. Anyway, another teaching about the void as far as chakra systems is that the void would be between the second and third chakra in the abdomen, is also considered the void chakra between those two, and that it floats within the abdominal space and is related to all of the organs within the abdomen. Like I say, that's one alternative teaching about it. Okay? Now, in the one teaching that really does a lot about the void is in the Japanese 5-element theory. Okay? So in the Japanese elemental theory, okay, and their concepts came from the root of India to China. Okay, India's teachings went into China. China did their thing with them. China brought it to Japan. Japan did their thing with them. Okay, so, and I'm bringing this up because this is where these are the pieces that kind of contradict it with spirit. Because honestly, there's a lot of it. A lot of the teachings have spirit and the void and ether as all being the same energy, the same. And then in other teachings, okay, the void is related to ether primarily. Okay, so we're bringing it in together. In the Japanese concept of the void, okay, it is called, the primary name of their 5 element theory is Godai or Godei. Okay? Go means 5, Dei for great, great 5. And for them, the great 5 is earth, water, fire, wind, void. All right. So they're actually all in, we're going to put them together all in the same cycle together today, Chris. So let's talk a little bit about the void as far as the teachings from traditional Japanese elemental theory. Okay, it's called Ku, Ku. It's seen as the 5th element that sits atop water's crest. The symbol most recognizable as the central Buddhist icon, the lotus flower. The lotus flower holds the jewel of enlightenment in its center. Okay? See where this is linked into the crown, talking about the 1,000-petaled lotus flower. We've talked about the lotus flower in all of the chakras, I believe. I may have missed it on a few, but in ancient India teachings, in the Buddhist teachings, every chakra is represented by a certain number of petaled lotus flowers. Ku represents not everything, but nothing, the void. It is emptiness. It is not. Ku, aka void, can be translated as sky or heaven, but at its core, Ku is absence. The whole at the center of who we are, of who we think we are. The whole at the center of who we think we are. And this is from, these are pieces from traditional Japanese teachings. Ku, the void, is also our spirit, our knowing, beyond thoughts. It is the source of our creativity and the source of the creativity of the world. Okay? So now you can see where in most of the traditional teachings, the void is alongside or the same as ether, because ether is within and without. It is the same as spirit, because spirit is also the who we are here and the who we are home. It is also related to the higher consciousness. So all of this links together, okay? The void is also representative of the universe, the cosmic consciousness. So there we go. It is the absence, it is the nothing, it is the not. And yet, on the flip side of it, it is spirit It is home. It is all collective consciousness. It is higher consciousness. So one is the nothing and one is the everything. Black and white, two halves, creating one whole. Okay? So I think all I have left is to show you guys my little diagram that I finally got finished. I didn't get a chance to work with hubby more to give you guys more of a 3D visual of the elements. But I'm going to talk about this diagram because it's been a bitch putting it together over this whole month series, putting together all of the teachings into how do we work with this in the creative cycle versus the controlling cycle. Okay, so where did I put it? Dun, dun, dun. All right, I'm gonna have to use a book to put behind it so that you guys might be able to see it in this light. I did scan it, and after the video is done, I'll post the picture in the comments of this video. And hopefully you guys can see this. Okay, scan up and down. All right, so you notice that I used a circle. Yay! All right, so let's talk about this shit a little bit. Because I had this aha moment today when I was drawing this. Believe me, you don't want to see my notes one. It's got things scratched out. Nope, change this. Oh, nope, add that. Okay, so, and like I said, I did already scan it just before I came on live, which is why I was delayed. But what I wanted to be able to bring to the table is a balanced picture, and I wish I could have done it more 3D so that everybody could see it as the picture that they've been giving me in my head. We really end up with a spiraling of circles, okay, or a spiral. So my base is a large circle, and this is representing the Earth, the planet Earth itself, okay? In the visual that I've had during all of these sessions, it ends up being very 3D, all right? So if you picture a human sitting in the center, all right, sitting down or standing up, I really don't give a shit. But the human body being in the center of the circle. The large circle is the Earth, okay? Everything spirals together. So you've got water at the north. Earth is the Earth axis. It goes from northeast, southwest. It also represents the outer portion of the planet Earth as the base circle, okay? Because Earth is also a center element. So you've got water at north. Water is also west, okay? The ones that combine, I have them combined together on their pivot points. So you've got, on the west end, you've got metal and water. On the east end, you've got air and wood. Now, the opposite access points, okay, earth axis is earth and earth. Earth star and earth star, root chakra and root chakra. Metal and wood are the balancers to that axis point. And why? Well, based on those elements, you can see how they would help to keep the balance of the earth element as a whole, because earth creates metal and earth nourishes wood and wood nourishes earth. So you've got the nourishing cycle right there in their opposing alignments. Fire, of course, fire is always south. Always. Every teaching. There's not a single teaching out there that fire is not listed by itself as south. Everybody else is all mixed up. Fire, not so much. That one's always south, no matter what country you went to, no matter what teaching you want to look at. Fire's always south. And I found that rather humorous. All right. So ether and void and earth fill all the spaces in between all of the elements on the outer edge and within. Outer, okay, think outer space or surrounding the planet, right, outside the circle, as well as inside the circle. And if you're picturing a human sitting at this center point, okay, core of the earth, center point, we're spinning them up. So if you were sitting in a center point, all of these other points would be coming into the body, into their aligned chakras, and building up until you start to form the spiral spin. And within the center, right, so I already said the big outer circle is earth. Then the next inner circle is ether, again, with spirit, akash, and void. And then we build up, right? So ether is the sound. Then we go up to the sixth chakra, which is light, spirit, ether, thought. Then we go into thought. And then we go to the core, the very top. Okay, so figuring this spiraling up in a circle. Up to here, right? Which now we're into the cosmic connection chakras. Okay. And what I couldn't put into my drawing, besides the person, okay, and here's the next part. Sometimes I wish I could pull these pictures out of my head and do more with them. Okay. Ow! Sorry, that's burning my butt. All right, so we've spiraled up, right? We're getting into the ninth and 10th, the stellar gateway, cosmic consciousness chakra. From here, all burst up, all burst around and down and come through and back in. Okay? And probably one of the best pictures to put that one together would be probably like a torus, right? Where you're seeing the torus has all the lines coming, you know, they remind me of a pumpkin, you know, when you draw a pumpkin with all the lines, okay? So that energy also comes in, flows out like a torus, coming back, surrounding the planet, back into the planet, back into the circle. We've made a full circuit of electrical conduit. Because guess what? We're energy. We are energy beings inhabiting a meat suit body. You know, kind of the soul is kind of like a symbiote to the physical self. Because the physical self is just a vehicle. It's the car you're driving. And when all circuits are complete, when all circuits are flowing within the motion of energy, making those continuous loops one within to the other, is how we become more authentic balanced and whole in who we are in our current physical reality. I think they were going to go with something else on that, but that's okay. That's good. So I will post a page from my polarity teaching reference paperwork that I have when I learned about polarity therapy that shows all of the meridians flowing within the body, and it's got all these lovely little notes about axioms and atoms and all that kind of stuff that you can scope out. And I will also post that diagram for those that want to play with it more. Just bear in mind it's really halfway there because I can't pull this 3D portion into a comprehensive visual. But I do really hope that these sessions have been informative and given you some more ideas, tools, and things like that to be able to navigate the life journey a little bit better. Oh, something else I was going to mention. I see your note, Lydia. I'll get to that in just a sec. Something else I wanted to mention when I was doing that diagram, you know, here you had the Earth, right, as the bigger circle, and you've got all the ether and void and, you know, outer space, really, cosmic consciousness, all surrounding it. Astrological alignments. If you haven't scoped yours out in full depth, I highly recommend you do, because when you put your astrological birth chart into alignment with these types of teachings, you can end up seeing your own attributes standing out as far as what elements are more innate, what elements are less in your chart that you might need to bring more of into balance. Because there again, everything with star alignments is really the digital code. It's the digital blueprint of the life plan and personality you chose to work with for this adventure. So if you take that picture and you put it with something like my, you know, very basic chart, you can end up seeing that, oh, okay, like for me, I'm very much water and air. So I have to work harder at bringing in more of the other elements in to help me be more balanced because I'm very much one direction. So the elements are the additional, they are the energies available to us in physical form that we can physically work with in all kinds of ways, from crystals, from diseases, from foods, all of it, right? Because we are created to work with our natural environment for everything that we need to be whole and have homeostasis. Let me see what Lydia's question. Looking down, which way is the spiral spinning? Are you going to make today's drawing available for study? Yes, Lydia, I am going to post the drawing in the comments today after I'm done, probably after I go eat, since my husband did surprise me with food. And honestly, the spirals, right, the spinning, and if you're looking down, they're spinning up, they're spinning down, they're spinning up, they're spinning down. Remember, the flow of energy is continuous and it needs a full circuit. Probably why I'm married to an electrician. Because no matter what energy form you're working with, energy needs to have a continual flow, a continual conduit of direction. And the human body is set up so that it spins up, it spins down, it spins out, it spins in, it spins around, and it flows up and it flows down. That's why you'll notice, like in a lot of the like Tai Chi and Qigong and all of that kind of stuff, the movements of the energy are very much about pushing it, pulling it, moving it, building it, you know, because energy is always within a continuous flow and needs a complete circuit for its conduit. So I'm going to open up last opportunity for questions because I am getting hungry and my battery is getting kind of down there. So anybody have any questions to throw at me, go for it. I do highly recommend, if you're wanting to learn more about the chakras in depth, this is a fantastic book because it also gets into the earth chakras. And I will say that its primary teachings is from the ancient Buddhist teachings about chakra systems. But it gives you some really good tips. For those who want to know, it's called Chakras, Balance Your Body's Energy for Health and Harmony by Patricia Mercier, Mercier, which is why I pronounce it with in more French. I highly recommend for the frequent healer and such, pick up one of these. They're inexpensive. You can order it at jamiebutlermedium.com. This is her chakra reference chart. It does have, excuse me, it does have a ton more information on the back side as well about the endocrine system, some aromatherapy tips, some other crystal tips. Great quick reference chart for healers and energy workers. I already showed you the other book. Also another great one is 101 Power Crystals, or the Crystals Bible by Judy Hall. Fantastic references, really informative on what crystals have, what type of energy, and what their power is as far as how you're wanting, what the intent of what your work is. It also tells you what chakras, each stone that she goes over in those books, it tells you what chakra in particular it's for, and whether it's an earthy vibration, a very high vibration, low vibration, gives you the whole mix. It's a really good book to look out, especially like if you're wanting to get into gridding and everything. Those are great books to scope out. I did post some of the websites that I used. I did some of them at the beginning of the series, as well as a few others as I've gone along. So you can scope those out on my page. I see Matt puts a picture of pizza. He actually brought me home kumi, which is Japanese cuisine. Ain't that some shit? Because where were we talking today? We were doing some Japanese elemental theories, weren't we? And here he pulls up with Japanese cuisine. I'm good to go. Let me see. What else can I say before I sign off for today? It's very healthy, so we had fried chicken. I had fried chicken last night, so that was very greasy and everything. So I think he's plying me with healthy food. Woo! You might source for learning. Oh, hi Lydia. about learning more on the soul star chakra. Yeah, because you know what? My chakra book didn't even have that one in it. My power crystals book did. And it had the stellar gateway. You know, who would think that that would be in a crystals book and not in a chakra book, right? But here again, different teachings, different resources. Honestly, I would just Google it and then, pick what resonates for you about it, because really it's such a subtle chakra that we don't work with very often unless you're really into getting into your spirituality to actually be aware that it even exists. So, but yet the soul star is so important to incorporate because it is the I am chakra. I'm trying to think if I have any books on my shelf in the office that might have more. No. I can look some up for you though. Hello, Mr. Bumblebee. I don't know. He didn't come up high enough. Come here, honey. Come on. Up, up. Woo! There he is. I had one in my house yesterday too. Big old bumblebee. All right. So, any more questions? I'm sorry, Lydia. I will look and see if I can find some more references on the Soul Star for you in the next couple of days and see if I can get some of those posted. And why is my Tika cat out? Oh, because my husband has her. Okay. So, last call. Otherwise, I'm going to end this. I am so thankful to all of you who have attended or watched after for these episodes on the different elements and how they relate to your human body, how they relate to your life journey, and how to become more whole and homeostasis in our life journeys. Come here, kitty girl. Come here. Titi. Tika. Come here. Oh, she was going to come until she just saw another bee. She's chasing him. So, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you attending. If there's any topics you would like to have discussed in depth or a live video about, please message me on my public page and I'll see about getting you some information or doing one of these types of sessions. And again, I really hope this helped. Love you guys. Namaste. Have a fantabulous day. I'm going to go eat. Love ya.